Hello guys, welcome to Beyond the Toolbox. I'm Dominic and I'm here with Ben from Toolbox Talks.
How dudes?
Yeah.
Basically, when I started off, I didn't want to be an electrician. It was I
start.
wanted to be a mechanic. When I was 16, I did my work experience as a mechanic. So I thought, yeah, this is what I want to do. And so I got an apprenticeship as a mechanic, but I did a year and a half of that. And what stopped me wanting to do mechanics is I saw some guy laying underneath a lorry getting covered in oil. I thought, yeah, this is not for me. So I jacked in that, went back to college and did accountancy, because in my head, accountants, yeah, they earn loads of money. I don't know, when you're young and naive, you just assume sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So I went back to college, did accountancy, did my first year of bookkeeping, but obviously at college, you get a summer holiday. Summer holiday, someone said, Ben, do you want to be an electrician's mate? So I was like, yes, fantastic, for a company called Grensels. And then the first week, I was in Manchester. Second week, I was in Luxembourg. Next week, I was in Paris. And then after the first 6 months, they said, Ben, do you want to do an apprenticeship? I said, yes, please. So obviously, I stayed at that. So that's how I started out being an electrician for a company as an apprenticeship, a company called Grensels. But I was doing a lot of DC power as well.
Mm-hmm. What's DC power?
DC power is basically telephone communications. It's a direct current, AC alternating current sort of thing. So it's DC power is what they use in telephone communications, because it's less interference. And we were doing a lot of batteries and things like that. But we were doing it all over the world in the end. So that's why I was probably stuck at that job, because I was one of them kids that wanted to just do everything. But when I was working away for this company, doing DC power and doing electrics, that's what sort of made me stick at it.
So is that where you learned the ropes, at your first kind of experience to it?
I'd say learn the ropes as a employee in effect, because all the DC power that I did, when I went to college, because I did block release, they were teaching you about 240 volts, 415 volts, and domestic electrics or industrial, commercial. I never really did that work. I did DC power. So my whole apprenticeship was all to do with DC when I was off in Hong Kong, Japan, and stuff like that. And then when I finally, the company went into liquidation, I was stuffed.
So forced.
I was stuffed. That was it. I weren't sure whether I was qualified, because it was the week when I'd done my AM2, my last exam to become an electrician. I was like, well, what am I going to do? I'm stuffed. So me and my brother got a job subcontracting in Slough. Great. So basically we were doing a metal trunking in Slough, and that was where all the things that I've learned at college come into effect, and I had to sort of use them, really, and that's how it started sort of in my experience, yeah.
Because that's crazy, because a lot of people think electricians is just going in and out of homes, domestic and things like that, whereas it's much broader, isn't it?
Definitely. There's so many avenues you can do with electrics, I think, with smart lighting now as well. I think it's progressed over the time, but when I was younger, there was industrial, commercial, or domestic. And there's a lot of different avenues. I think you don't do any tray and stuff, or you don't do any three-phase in domestics, but then in domestics as well, you've got to be a bit more perfectionist sort of thing to get it right, because the customer won't pay you if you're if you look rubbish.
And then with that, over your time, what are some myths that you might have believed as an apprentice or before getting into it, which now you learn?
Well, I might get shot in the foot here for saying it, but electricians do clean up. Like, a lot of people say, well, electricians, they don't. Exactly. So no one believes it that electricians don't clean up. But electricians do clean up, especially in domestics. Well, the thing is, it's the first thing you get taught. When I was working in industrial commercial, I was the cleaner upper. I was a dog's body sort of thing. They used to call me Lurch, because I was always been a bit lanky and tall. So one of the other guys, the electricians, used to call me Lurch, and I was the one that had to clean up after everyone. They'd make the mess, I'd clean it up. Even I remember as well when I used to have to collect the scrap, put it in a certain pile, and I'd collect all the scrap. I was the one that stripped it. I still had to go halves with everyone else. I always remember they wound me up. I collected all. I wanted that money, but no, it didn't happen.
So with that, obviously, you started your trade, you started perfecting it. What made you think, I need to start sharing my tips, obviously with Toolbox Talks and things like that? What made you go over to that?
Right, well, I'd been an electrician for what? I'd say just below 20 years. And I was running my own company for about around 20 years as well, when I started being self-employed. And it just got on top of me a bit, so I jacked it in for 2 years and sort of did nothing. But then coming back into it, and a lot of my friends and a lot of builders, plumbers and things like that as well, they said, oh, Ben, how'd you do this? How'd you do that? How are you busy all the time? Like, I've got no work this week. And I'd tell them, I'd say, look, you need to do this, you need to do that. But then because it's a little bit difficult, or maybe I didn't explain it properly, they'd just not do it and still have no work the next week. So I thought, right, I'm going to try and do some tips and tricks on a podcast or on video online and put out onto YouTube and stuff. So that's what I started to do, and it sort of took off. And all the ideas that I think as a tradesman, it's people familiarise it as well, like being tool theft. It winds people up when people's vans get robbed. It winds them up. So I did a video about that, and then people were like, yeah, they relate to it. So I just sort of learned along the way was trying to help other electricians come into the industry. Because another myth, what electricians believe, I think, or I believed as well, if you haven't done an apprenticeship, you're not really a spark. You're just someone that's went to, well, I used to call them Kellogg's cornflakes qualifications. I feel bad for it now because they're not, because I know so many electricians that have done like a 6-week course and become qualified and then got the experience, become an electrician, and a brilliant electrician, sometimes better than me as well. So there's so many different avenues what you can become an electrician rather than doing a modern apprenticeship.
What would you say is the, again, it might be a bit, but what would you say is the best avenue to go down? If someone, say if we had a 16-year-old kid now, he or she has just come out of school. Yeah. They don't know what they want to do, but they might want to go into this.
It's always going to be a modern apprenticeship because a 16-year-old kid, you don't know anything. In effect, you've never worked. So you need the discipline as well, and you need to get told what to do a lot of the time, I think. But then on the other end of the spectrum where there's a 40-year-old guy, I'd say, yeah, definitely go to college and do your qualifications because a 40-year-old person can't afford to drop down to a stupid apprenticeship wage. Yeah. So I'd always recommend getting a job within the industry that what you want to get qualified in. Like maybe getting a job with an electrical company to get the experience, because all these people have so many qualifications. You can get qualifications, I think, a lot easier than you can get experience. So you need the experience to be able to actually do the job, because a lot of people go into it saying, well, electricians earn this, electricians earn that. But you need to be able to do the job. Yeah. This is the thing. You can't just say, I've got a bit of paper saying I can do it. If someone says to you, right, go and do that 3-phase board and wire it up, I'd seen it at college, but that's about it. It's scary, yeah. And if you are a little bit confident, but if you do it wrong, you're going to hurt yourself. Yeah, exactly, or somebody else.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing, yeah. And your insurance is going to kill you.
But, going back to Toolbox Talks, with the content, so once you started doing it, did you manage to get more clients, basically, for your electrical content?
Well, with Toolbox Talks, I'm sort of trying to keep that separate from my business, in effect, because when I've been running a business for over 20 years, I've got so many customers and all the different ways that I've done, like with these little I call them email nails. We're just putting emails out as a simplified newsletter, basically, to keep customers, to let them know that I'm still about. I'm
like
still
mail
working.
Shots, like how
sort of something like that. Yeah, just to let them know that I'm still in business, in effect. And just the way I maybe talk to customers, little things, bits like that have kept me in business for over the 20 years. What I tried to do online, but I tried to do that under Toolbox Talks for Electricians rather than my business. People that I do work for, they have seen my videos and they laugh at me a bit because I think they may be a bit stupid sometimes, but I think it's a bit of the banter as well for electricians or tradesmen sort of thing. So I don't really get a lot of work out of the content that I put online.
Yeah. So with that, you've got your full-time job and you got the content and you got to create it and you got to cut it down, your own editor and things like that. I know we spoke off camera about it, but how are you juggling it all? How are you doing this all? There's like 3-4 full-time jobs.
It is, yeah. It's I don't know whether some people say I've got ADHD. And stuff like that. I like doing stuff. I like being busy. This is the thing. And when I'm sitting around doing nothing, I'll always find something to do, like an old guy, I say. Like I'm 44 now. I'll always be
not
making.
Old, mate.
Midway, half dead. But that's what they say.
Lovely way to think about it.
Yeah, I know. But I'm always making something, trying something out in this shed or with motorbikes. Like I've got a project I need to do at the minute. I've got a jet wash I'm going to take to bits. It'll probably be cheaper to buy a new one, but I'm going to take it to bits and fix it. But I always like doing stuff. And with being an electrician as well, I don't really work full-time as an electrician anymore. Like I sort of do like 3 days, maybe the next week I'll do 2 days. And if there is a job that I need to do 5 days, I'll do 5 days. I don't really work weekends. I haven't worked a weekend in a long time, just trying to think. I don't really want to work weekends. So I've tried to narrow it down a lot to what I do as an electrician, and that obviously gives me time to do a lot of the content as well, yeah.
So you're good at like balancing it and juggling it.
Yeah, weighing it up sort of thing.
And just from that, again, you're posting a lot of content out on Toolbox Talks and things like that, giving people tips. Do you get a lot of people? Obviously, we see the men's mental health in these trades and things like that. It's having someone to speak to and stuff like that. Has that really opened your eyes to it? So with Toolbox Talks, has been people been reaching out and speaking to you about that?
Definitely not so much. I've met a couple of guys that have struggled. They've done all their qualifications and they can't see the light sort of thing. I want to be an electrician, but I don't know the next steps or how to get anywhere. And I suppose when you're doing all your qualifications and you walk into a room full of electricians, it's a bit maybe intimidating.
Yeah.
But I always say to them, just get the experience, get in there. And even if you're not 100%, you're not sure sort of thing, then you've just got to put yourself out there, because it's all you need is one yes. One yes to say, look, can I work with you the weekend? And when you prove yourself, they might go, hang about, it's going to be handy to come with me in the week as well. And then maybe there's one guy that reached out online, and he was an apprenticeship. I think it was a young lad. He said, I've been working with this guy, but all he does is make me clean up. I don't learn anything. It's a waste of time. I said, well, if you're working for a company and he's listening to you that you're working with, like the electrician, go to your boss and explain yourself. So don't stay quiet, because if you're not happy, you're going to quit and you're going to end up not doing it. So don't just to keep quiet. Go tell someone about it. Say something. Change it. And a couple of weeks later, he come back to me. I said, I went to the boss. I'm working with someone else and I'm learning loads. And I thought, that was good. I'm glad I did that. That's a nice little feeling to think, well, I helped that lad out. So little things like that are good.
And then with that, obviously you've got people who have got the bit where they've just got their qualification, they've gone into it. But how about the people who you said that reached out to you and said like they're struggling to find work and things like that? Has people reached out to you and said, like, obviously they're stressing about bills and things like that? How is it affecting their mental health with that as well?
This is the thing. It starts from wanting to do better, doesn't it? They want to do better. Maybe they're working in an office job, but they want to do something with their hands and online to become an electrician, but they can't afford to sort of take the lower wages because their job that they've got is quite good. So this is where I did a video once of like little things that maybe you're not an electrician, but you could do for customers and still get paid, like for, in effect, DIY jobs, but a bit more advanced in a DIY, maybe lighting, changing light fittings or changing sockets or recommending energy efficiency, like for light bulbs, changing them to LED. I tried to help out lads like that. But yeah, you're right. People do struggle, in effect, and you want to help them as much as you can. If I had millions of pounds, I'd help them out, sort of thing. You want to help them, but I'm just trying to support them that way within talking to them. Say, look, if I was your age, if I was in your position, this is what I think I'd try, what I'd do. And always say, look, my door's open. Send me an email, send me a text on whatever platform, and we'll talk about it. Or I have rung a few guys up, and you know that they're stressing because I'm on the phone for about an hour. And it is good, though. Like, you get to chat to some people, like you might be in bleeding, like Southampton, miles away, and stuff like that. So you try to give them a bit of a G up in a thing. Like, so this is the hard part. This is the hard part for you to get qualified. This is the hard part for you to find work. Once you've done it, it gets easier. This is like any job sort of thing. When you start learning out, don't you? It does get easier eventually once you know.
With that, and then obviously we all know tradespeople. It's like on the site and stuff like that. It's a lot of banter. It's a lot of messing around and things like that. Can't say I've been on the site, but I have a lot of friends who are into it, and if they act how they act with me on the site, I could imagine how they are.
Yeah, it's a bit harsh.
How with men and tradespeople as a whole, speaking to people in that kind of environment, is there any advice you would give them? Say if they really did need to have a talk and really did need to have a conversation.
Pick the person you're going to talk to, because people are horrible on site. And you'd never know whether someone's horrible to you on site because they're getting it in the neck from somebody else. So I remember I worked on a site when I was younger, and it's Steve, his name was, I can say his surname, but it was a young lad, and he was a dog's body. He was a young lad, and they were horrible to him, the other electricians. And we found him sitting in the toilet crying. Well, I found him sitting in the toilet crying. I only found it because the building weren't finished. There was no locks on the door. So I walked up saying, what are you doing? And I said to him, look, mate, if you can't, and it's like this, it'll be like this all your life. Even when you're older, people call me lurch. Like, it doesn't matter. Or lanky trigger piss sort of thing, people used to call me and stuff. So if people are horrible, they'll find the smallest little thing about you, and that'll be it. They'll go on it, and that'll be your nickname. So you've got to be able to be a bit thick-skinned. And I said to him, look, if you can't handle it, mate, quit. because it's not worth it. It's not worth the hassle if you feel like you're getting bullied all the time and people are horrible to you. And I think he became a manager of McDonald's in the end. Fair enough, he didn't like it.
Yeah.
It's great being on site and learning the trade, but it's not worth it, the hassle, if it's affecting your mental health. I don't think, definitely. It's a job at the end of the day. You're doing it for a living. Don't let people put you down like that. And don't fire off. I don't think. Start fighting and reacting back. Talk about it. Say to him, look, man, this is not nice. Like, it bothers me. I go home thinking.
Would you say if that young lad or young woman was there and they did speak, will it be a good conversation from it? You know, 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, depends who they talk to.
Yeah.
Because if someone come to me and did it on site, I'll be in their corner straight away, right behind the back, saying, "Look, this ain't happening anymore. Like, it bothers him. Stop saying it." But I think some people will just go double it down, and be worse. And that's what site work is like. If you hurt yourself and your hand gets chopped off, you'll be known as the idiot that got his hand chopped off. They won't think, poor bloke, he ain't got a living. He'll be like, that idiot got his hand chopped off. It's a male environment, I think, with my era, my age, and what they're like. We're just horrible to each other, I think. Yeah, definitely.
But I think a lot of times where people, I think, again, that type of environment, it's shown as it's another way of love. You know, in a very backwards way.
Yeah, it is in a roundabout way. It's acceptance, possibly.
Yeah. And I think that's where if them conversations are had, the person who is doing it and having it, be like, you know what, mate, I'm actually so sorry.
It'll make them think.
Be like, I was only messing around with you. I was only joking with you and stuff like that. Whereas, you know, sometimes in them environments, jokes, depending on what day, it's not, one day you can take
validated
that
sort of thing.
Them other days,
because it happened to them in effect as well. It's happened to them somewhere down the line.
Exactly.
So that's why they think it's normal.
Yeah.
And not these days. It's a bit horrible. People can take it too far. I think.
Exactly. Yeah. And people can speak about things what people are actually insecure about.
Yeah.
And then because they're thinking of it already, and someone says it.
Yeah, it definitely is in the back of their mind.
Worse, you know? So that's why
elaborates it.
It is good to find that person there where you can speak to.
Well, just don't sit in silence.
Yeah.
This is the thing. Like, you can't just sit in silence because, like they say, a problem shared is a problem solved.
Yeah.
And sometimes, I've done it before, when you talk with a friend about a problem, and he's like, what are you on about, Ben? That a big deal. You're like, well, it's not, is it?
Exactly,
it's not really. So just saying it out loud, even to your freaking dog or something, talking away, just saying it out loud, thinking that's not as big a deal. And just don't sit in silence. I hate it when people say, this happened 10 years ago, and you're like, what the flip? Why don't you tell me anything?
Yeah, exactly. Because you speak to that person can either be like, you know what, mate, I'm so sorry. Did not mean it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Behind closed doors.
Solved, you know? It's just having that conversation around it, especially around, even if you're worried about something at home, say someone's going through a divorce, X, Y, Z. Feeling that community where you can have that conversation with those people, because you're on site 8-9 hours a day and stuff like that.
You're with them most of the day.
Exactly. You need to have that conversation with people. You know, you like us, we got our office where we speak to people and things like that. But around that site, I feel like they can open up more and stuff like that.
Yeah, like not in a communal sort of thing. You don't go into the lunch area and start telling everyone. Just say it one, and then it will sort of, you can talk to.
Exactly.
And if you talk about it, it does sound a little bit better. So it doesn't sound as worse.
Yeah.
As
you
it
get
is.
that kind of unit around you, which is good.
Yeah. A bit of support, from friends and family else. Because the bloke that you're talking to, or the woman that you talk to, might have done that, might have been through it as well. Exactly. And say, look, I got through it years ago. The same thing happened to me.
Exactly. And if your problem, someone else has experienced it, and you see they've got through it,
exactly how
you're going to look at them and be like, oh, it's not really that deep, though. It's not really that much of a big issue, is it?
Well, they might tell you your problem. You're like, yours was worse.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel quite good. It ain't that bad, is it? I know.
That never happened to me.
Yeah, oh, gosh. I only had 10 grand in debt. You had £1 million. No thanks.
Are you still here? Yeah. No, sure. And then obviously you kind of touched it on at the start about tools being taken from vans and things like that. Hypothetically, if your van was on fire, what's the first tool you would grab?
My phone. It sounds bad, doesn't it? My phone, because then I could. I don't know what I could do really, but
they could go on Amazon.
I don't know. If the van was on fire, stuff it. It's insured. I'm going to walk away because I'd rather be safe, sort of thing.
But if there was one tool you could grab, what would it be?
Would it be my tool bag? And within my tool bag,
But it has all the tools.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. There's nothing
one
really.
tool.
There's nothing really that can be replaced. But there's one tool that I have got is a chaser. I'm a tight git.
What's
So
a chaser? What's it?
It's basically when you're doing a wall and you've got to do a chase down to put the conduit in for like a rewire of a house.
Yeah.
It chases it out perfectly rather than having to smash it out with a hammer drill. That I didn't buy for 19 years. It was £1,000. I didn't want to buy it. No way, grand. I ain't spending that. It saves you time and it saves you money. It is brilliant. And now I use it even if I do one socket in someone's house because it's just so neat as well. And you got the Hoover with it. Oh, so it's a lot easier. There's a lot of tools.
Keeps it clean, as we said about the mist.
Exactly. Yeah, it keeps it clean and tidy. This is the thing. Yeah, definitely. But these are the little things where I haven't. Over time, you see these tools. You think I ain't buying that. Yeah. Well, expensive. Buy it.
It's worth it.
It makes your life so much easier. This is the thing. This is why the thing was invented.
They want a sponsor deal too.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, I've got one now. So I've been hanging out for ages.
Yeah.
Well, God, buy it myself.
So obviously that's a great tool. Another great tool, WD-40.
100%.
Yeah. Could you tell me one time WD-40 has saved you?
I could tell you 10.
Yeah.
Because I do for a hobby as well. I do motorbikes.
Yeah.
And not just for the motorbike sort of thing, but I've always got a couple of cans laying around because I think it's a household brand in his names.
Yeah.
I've got a jet wash. If you don't use that for so long, it will seize up. So with the bikes and the jet wash, after I've gone out on a motocross bike, you jet wash it, it's covered in water. So you spray all the engine with WD, and you do it all the time. You spray all the little the brakes or the pegs just to make sure nothing like seizes up. But if they are seized up as well, I've had the big tub before, so you have to soak it in WD to get it to sort of lubricate it up. So you do use WD-40 all the time.
What's your favourite product?
Of WD-40.
I was going to say if there's a burning van, but I wouldn't jump in the van.
No, that'll blink go up, wouldn't it? This is the thing. I've got it, bang!
But yeah, your favourite product out of the Specialist and WD-40 range,
it's just
what's the one was so handy? The most
the original.
The original.
Basically, the original can. Yeah, of WD-40 is what I use all the time. Sort of even when I wash the van, I do a little bit on the locks or the hinges. Just
it's like universal, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Use it for everything. Yeah. Like even the other day when I used it, we had the bathroom window, the handle snapped. Oh, flipping! I've got to get a new mechanism. So at the end of the day, I got a new handle. And why is it as open? I just sprayed it all with WD-40. That is perfect. Now that handle, it works wicked. So it just does work for everything in your house, at work, and with the bikes.
And then with that, again, because that's sort of like a seized up, do you have a hack when you're around the house and things like that, which you know from your trades and stuff like that, where you've got like seized stubborn fittings and things like that, which you just quickly go to? What's the hack for that to unseize it?
WD-40. Basically, it's what you use it for. That's why I've always got a can around, because if there's a WD-40 that sees even a screw head sometimes, if it's rounded at the top, it's going to be a nightmare to get out. So put a bit of WD-40 on to start with to get rid of the rust and around it, and that's going to come out a lot easier. I think my dad taught me it. Yeah. There's always had a can of WD.
It's a heritage product, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's been around for so long. And it does the job. This is why everyone's got it. I was at someone's house the other day helping him jump start his car. And we were doing something or other with the jump leads. I said, you ain't got any WD, have you? Yeah, I have. He had a can of WD-40 in his garage. So I think every bloke maybe in their garage, they've got a load of rubbish stuff, but they've also got a can of WD.
Yeah. Just snip it that bit.
Definitely.
And then with that, obviously, we talk about the standard product, what's been years and years and years of heritage, the WD-40 multi-use product. But with our Specialist range, tell me, do you know about and do you use it a lot as an Indian standard job?
I didn't really know about the Specialist range of what they did. I just know WD because it's the blue, and it's sort of when I see it on the shelves in the shop, I just think it's a standard blue WD. But now I know it's got the degreaser and it's got the cleaning compound, stuff like that, especially with cleaning contacts, stuff like that inside. And don't just use a cleaning contact for like the electrical components. You use it for glass or something like that as well, where you get it nice and clean again and protects it. Yeah. So yeah, I will looking to get in a box of different sorts and keep them in my
I
storage.
will have a couple for you, don't worry.
Oh, fantastic.
We'll have a couple for you,
definitely
don't
to
worry.
use it. You'll see, keep an eye on the videos then. They'll be used in there. This is what I use
Yeah.
this for.
Do you know this product?
Yeah, exactly. It's new to me.
And then just on that, with obviously we touched on how you started with your trade and things like that and Toolbox talks.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a story where would you believe it type of story? You wouldn't believe it, sorry, type of story. From your days of either Toolbox talks or in your trade.
Well,
PG.
Basically, yeah, definitely. But there's I don't know a lot of people that have had the same route as me as an apprentice, because when I was an apprentice, I was working all over the world, and I was in Hong Kong, Japan, Miami, Argentina, and stuff like that. And then once they phoned me up, they said, Ben, right, you either come back to the UK, because I was in Japan at the time, said you come back to the UK, we're a bit slow on work, so you've got to have a week off, or it's cheaper for you to stay out there until we send out another man out there. Because the electricians I was out there with, they had families, so they went back every 3 weeks. I didn't have a family at the time, so I just stayed there. It was fine. I'll wait for someone else to come out. I was loving life sort of thing, out in all these countries, getting paid to stay in the hotel, getting my food paid for, which was cheap as well. So they said, right. So I said, right, I'll stay in Japan, thanks. I'll wait for the other guy to come out, I'll stay here for a week. So I was going to have a week off in Japan. And I don't know if you've ever been to Japan, but it's hustle and bustle. There's a lot going on in... I can't remember what it's called, Nigra or something like that. It was called in the capital where it all flies into. Yeah. The airport's in the middle of the frigging town. That's how busy it is. But I thought, stuff this. So I tried to get a flight to Singapore, and I met the clerk of works there and said to him what my deal was, and he went to the back of the paper. I got a flight to Singapore for $70. And spent the week in Singapore living like a king. Amazing. It was brilliant. Orchard Towers, I remember, because it was the best hotel in Singapore. The grandson put me up in it, and they paid my food bill. So when I was meeting people out as well in the week, they're backpacking. Is that where are you staying? I was like, in that hotel there. I must have had about 100 club sandwiches that week, because I get everyone back. We always used to have club sandwiches. I always remember that. And Singapore was brilliant. I loved it. So there's a few stories out from when I travel around the world. This is why I think traveling makes a person, because you can see what other cultures live like and meet other cultures, see what they're like and how they do things. Because I think we're sheltered a little bit on this little island in the UK. Across the world is brilliant.
And from traveling, what's the biggest lesson you've learned from traveling? Like you said, hitting other cultures and things like that. What are some of the lessons you learned from doing that?
Everybody is so different. You don't always meet the people like you. And it's trusting some people as well, I think, sometimes. Some people are out to what they can get. I just love meeting different types of people. And I suppose now you can get a gauge, can't you? First instincts like, this guy's an idiot or this person's horrible. So you steer clear of them. But yeah, I learned that lesson the hard way when I was travelling around, and people take advantage of you and stuff. Of course, But yeah, different cultures as well, of how they do things. Like the Japanese and the Chinese, they work till like 11 o'clock at night. My stuff that, do you never clock off? Like, what are we doing? And then in Japan as well, where the guys I was working with, all they ate was McDonald's all the time. We did for the first week, we met McDonald's. It was annoying. So then I said to the clerk of works again, Eric Madison, I think his name was. I said, right, I want to eat normal Japanese food. Like, so I'm not fed up with McDonald's.
Authentic type.
Authentic. So we took me to this little restaurant, and I remember, because the old lady at the reception was teaching me Japanese. Arigato somos was like, thank you, and stuff like that. And I used to walk in there. They always used to look at me because I was tall. I'd take my shoes off. Freaking feet stunk because I've been working all day. Fold my feet, and we had chicken and rice. It was beautiful. It was about £6. I ate like a king, and it was brilliant. And I just went there every lunch. And that's another little thing where I think, and they were lovely in the end, because I kept going there as well. I got accepted, and people started talking to me. But all it was businessmen and people just stuffing their faces with loads of chicken and rice. It was brilliant. There's this how different things work. Like, you don't have to go to McDonald's.
And then from your travelling, and then obviously seeing all these other cultures, how did you take that to not just make yourself a better person, but also in your own job as a trades? Obviously, you're encountering a lot of people. You're going into people's homes and things like that. So how did that help you?
I think it helped with maybe social skills, with how to talk to people, especially people with language barriers sometimes. Like I speak, like I work with Italians, and they're trying to explain things, and you're like, "What do you mean?" Sometimes, or Indian sort of thing. They'll say something you don't mean it like that because that's in layman's terms, and I'm trying to say that doesn't work. Don't touch it, for God's sake. Like sometimes, yeah. So even they're all different cultures these days because the UK is not just full of people from the UK. We've got Bulgaria, Croatia, stuff like that. We're all different languages, so it helps with me to be a bit patient. I think, to be able to speak from people from different countries.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, nice. And then just going back to obviously from a electrician's perspective, obviously we've touched on the smart lighting and things like that.
Yeah.
But how do you see obviously technology is amazing as we can see.
Yes. And it's evolving rapidly.
AI and things like that. But how can you see electrical trade and where's that heading in the next 5 to 10 years?
I'd like to say it's heading down the lines of battery powered, like the EV and stuff. I know EV is taking off and it is very popular, but I can see so many problems in it as well. I've had a hired van with electric and I didn't like it, sort of thing. But it is evolving all the time. This is the thing. So sustainable energy, like households, they're now being built. I don't know where all of them sort of thing, but there's a new regulation coming out, but they're being built with 3-phase supply to the building. Well, that's going to help diversify the load. 3-phase is basically single phase, you've got a live and a neutral. 3-phase, you've got 3 lives and a neutral. So it's got more load you can have because things will...
So like for car chargers.
And for car chargers and things like that. More in industrial units, they've got 3-phase because they've got 3-phase machinery. But in domestic houses, which is sort of unheard of in effect, saying you've got 3-phase, but they're now putting 3-phase into domestic premises, which will help with the load because you've got loads of the 3-phase, the big load with the EV car chargers, and they run a lot more efficient. But the technology that wise, I think it's just going to keep advancing and get better and better. Because I know that when the first EV chargers come out, they're obsolete now. You can't. Don't bother repairing them. Really? Just replace them. Why? Because the technology's advanced so much over time. Like I think it's BG. I think they bought one out and they said we don't make that one anymore. Just replace it. Like, 'cause there's no point in repairing it. You might as well replace it. This is the thing because it's advancing so fast, and a lot of things are happening like that. They're coming out. They're all marketing fantastic. Everyone's putting them in. They're brilliant. And they're obsolete now. They don't last. Not like a lot of electrical components that I see. They do last. 30 years sometimes. The old wireless boards have been in there 30 years. Some of them are all right. They still do the job. But there's better components now. So there's no point in repairing things like that. You just got to replace.
Upgrade
and I think that's the place where we're at. Where we replace rather than repair. That's the culture we are in the UK.
Well, WD-40's slogan's a little bit different. Repair, don't replace.
Oh, right. Yeah, well, obviously.
And then from that, obviously, you're saying the next 5 to 10 years, obviously, it's going to go up and up and up. You should do for the charges and stuff like that. So because of that, we're going to need our young people to start getting into the trade.
100%.
So what can we do? Not me, not electrician.
Not personally, as a tradesman.
What can tradesmen do to make electrical trade more appealing to these younger people? What would you want when you was an apprentice? What would that have made it more appealing? I know your route was a little bit different.
I think because it's such low money, end of the day, and I think there's a lot of industries are all the same, like even hairdressing, plumbing, building. The wages are so low. Like I think a labourer a day gets £100 and the apprentice might get £75 a day. When you think about it, they're not going to ever get a mortgage on that. This is the thing. It's going to be tough for people to get on in life. So this is why youngsters, I think, I don't know, I want 100 grand a year. I need 100 grand a year because by the time I'm 25, I want to be able to be in my own house. And it's so difficult for them these days. I remember when I was younger, my first house, I can say now because I sold it, I made that up. My self-employed, I made up exactly what they wanted to hear so I could get the mortgage, which I got the mortgage and I could pay it. It was fine. This is the thing, but I had to make it up to be able for the banks to say, yes, you can have the mortgage. But these days, you can't do that. You can't make nothing up. They'll just ask for your certain number, go onto your government website, and that's it. That's what you earn. So it's so difficult for youngsters to be able to get on in life. So if they start as an apprentice on such a low wage, they can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, in effect, a lot of guys, and they want it quick. Like, I understand. When I was younger, I wanted it now, but so we've got to work out a way to be able to pay them a little bit more.
And so they can understand the process of it.
Exactly,
it's a long course. It's 4 years.
About
isn't it?
4 years, 3 to 4 years sort of thing to become fully qualified on paper as an electrician.
Yeah.
That's just the qualifications. Like, you want to be able to get the experience as well,
Exactly, yeah.
to be able to go out on your own. And don't go out on your own and say, right, I'm going to install all this 3-phase into this workshop with all this technology and that going on. Start off with something that you know you can do, you can get experience from. And if you're not sure, ask somebody, because you don't want to do it wrong. Like, I used to have something like I asked all the time.
And then with that, with this tradesperson and with this person in doing apprenticeships, how important is it for them to show their trade on social media? I see a lot of people do day in their lives, things like that, promoting themselves, promoting their own brand. How important it is for this tradesperson to do that?
I think it's a fantastic idea, because then you can get criticism. As long as you're open to criticism, you're going to get criticism online. But then, in effect, say you started as an apprenticeship, like there's a guy, Adam Dunlop. He did an apprenticeship with a guy, and he's gone all the way through, and now he's qualified and started upon his own. He started upon his own straight away from working with Nick Bundy. But if you wanted to go for a job, I think anyone would give him a job, because he's basically got a 6-year CV sitting there.
Yeah.
That's an online CV. You can't lie to that. Look at my video. This is what I've done. This is where I've came from.
Yeah.
This is how I learn. And this is mistakes I made, and this is where I've got today. Like, that's an online CV. Someone will, in effect, I'd give him a job tomorrow, because you got that know, like, and trust with a guy already. If I had a house to be done, and he said, like, I can rewire that, I'd pretty much say, just get on with it.
Yeah.
Because you can trust him, sort of thing.
And
so,
also, I guess from a business perspective, someone's going to want someone with a big following,
a background,
who's going to know as well. All right, cool. You work for us. You're going to wear our polo, and you're going to take some videos.
That's another advantage of it.
That you're going to promote our business to your 200, 300k type of followers.
Yes.
So that's another big thing as well for
because
these young people.
Even if they start out like with a video themselves on TikTok or whatnot, then later on they can go a business profile. So when they do eventually start up on their own, they've got a bit of a following already, so they can say, right, I'm doing the jobs on my own now. And someone might have seen them going, oh, I saw him do that fuse board. That's really neat. I want him to do mine. Yeah. And this is the thing. It snowballs, in effect, doesn't it?
And you
exactly, yeah. One thing starts and you get a job that way. That one will say, check this guy out. Look, he did a video of my fuse board and replaced it in my house. It snowballs in effect. And then by the end of it, you're just really busy.
Yeah, exactly. And then finally, so if there's one single bit of best advice you could give a tradie, what would it be?
Good question.
Don't have McDonald's in Japan.
No, it tastes the same as in the bleeding UK, to be honest. Is just be the best you can. And times get tough as a tradesperson. When you start up on your own, you might not have any work. But then find out why you haven't got any work. Work out why. There's so many videos online, especially of mine. Could check it out, Electricians, of how to start getting work. And then there's other people as well, the struggles that we went through. Don't think you're alone. I think a lot of people say, right, I'm going to try starting up on my own. I start up on their own. Yeah, it didn't work out. I'm rubbish. It didn't work out. I've got no customers. I didn't get paid enough. Or if you're trying to be an electrician to get into the trade to start with, be determined that that's what you want to do. Don't just go, I've done it for a year, then quit. I know so many people that have got what they're level 2. I didn't finish it off. What's the point of doing it? You could have been doing something else. You wasted your time a bit. So if you're determined that you want to be a brickie, a carpenter, electrician, stick at it, get qualified at it, go in the trade and do the job, and then maybe move on from there. Move on to something else. Like, be confident in what you're going to do. Because so many people, I think, just go, I'll try this for a week, try that for a week. No, I know people that, when I went to college, because I went to college doing mechanics, and it's the same college at Tresham, I went back to do electrics. And the tutors used to say to me, Ben, what are you doing next week? Painting? No, okay. I stuck out being an electrician, but they looked at me thinking this guy's just going to quit. But I didn't.
So just sticking it out.
Yeah, basically sticking it out and figure the process of how it's going to work. And always have a bit of a plan, I suppose. Plan what you're going to do. Right, this 4 years, I'm going to be qualified. There's so many options. You can move to Australia. Australia are crying out for tradesmen. Yeah. You go to Australia and do it. Not just Australia. You can go to America. You can go anywhere and do your profession. And then maybe you want to start up on your own. So where are you going to start up on your own in your little little area. You can sort of start a business profile then and start getting it, because Google use social media to your advantage, I think, because the days of putting leaflets through people's doors was boring anyway, because I used to do that, and is long gone. I didn't get any work out of that bleeding leaflets. Cost me a fortune.
Yeah, they cost a lot.
Yeah, I know. They were glossy paper. I thought I'd go all out.
Yeah. Gloss finish.
Yeah, I know.
But sweet. Perfect. I really enjoyed that, Ben.
brilliant.
Thank you for that.
My problem. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, mate. Thank
Cheers.
you.